Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in. DC TechNet is your own channel, so do like, share and subscribe. It motivates us to create new contents. So let's see what we have today. Today we are going to discuss on DNS queries, and the agenda would be just go with the brief of DNS, not in depth, just a brief of DNS, and we'll directly jump on to DNS queries. So let's see what is DNS in brief. So DNS is a name resolution service. DNS resolves, say, host names to corresponding IP addresses. So DNS translates human readable websites such as Microsoft.com or Google.com into numerical IP addresses which the computers can understand. And last but not the least, DNS, we can say DNS is a phone book for the internet. So let's understand what DNS queries are. So the DNS queries are the process of resolving the domain names or the host names to an IP address. Just a process of resolving host names to corresponding IP address. And today we are going to focus on two queries, iterative query and recursive query. These two are very important queries in the world of DNS. And we are going to understand these two queries with an example. So let's say we have a laptop. It can be any device, not a laptop. It can be your, say, mobile phone or any other device which goes online, which has an IP address. Now the IP address of this laptop is 192.168.100.90 and the preferred DNS is 8.8.8.8. Now the user opens up his, say, favorite browser and types in www.gmail.com, and let's understand what happens at the back. Now this device wants the IP address of gmail.com. It will not work on the name. So here comes the, say, DNS name resolution in picture. So what happens is this device first will look into the local DNS cache. If it finds it, it will open up the web page. So if it doesn't find the IP address of gmail.com, it will look into the local hosts file. And if it doesn't find the IP address of gmail.com, definitely then it will query the preferred DNS. So it will ask the preferred DNS, what is the IP address for gmail.com. Now this preferred DNS, if it has cached the IP address of gmail.com, it will immediately send the IP address back to the client. And let's say if it has not yet cached, or it's not an authoritative DNS for gmail.com, so it will query the root DNS root hints, or they are called as root servers. So there are 13 such root servers in the world. There are many, but these are the prominent are 13 root servers in the world, and all these root servers are represented by a dot. Now if you see over here www.gmail.com, and there's again a dot after com, and that represents the root, and the name resolution happens from right to left. Now the dot over here, if you type in any site, that is invisible. Now this preferred DNS will query or ask the question to the root servers about, say, hey, can you give me the IP address of gmail.com? Now these root servers are not authoritative servers for Gmail, and they don't know about anything about Gmail. So what will they do? they'll simply say that definitely I don't know anything about Gmail, but I have the IP address of .com DNS servers, and they hand over the IP address to our preferred DNS. Now the preferred DNS will again query the .com servers asking the same question. Hey, could you please help me with the IP address of gmail.com? And again, the .com DNS servers are not the authoritative DNS servers for gmail.com, but the .com DNS servers know the IP address of the Gmail's DNS servers. So what they'll do is, hey, I don't have the IP address of gmail.com, but definitely I can give you the IP address of Gmail's DNS server, that is 43.54.132.13. So this preferred DNS server will query 43.54.132.13, asking him a question again, or querying, hey, what is the IP address of gmail.com? So definitely this, just say ns1.gmail.com will say that, oh, I am the authoritative DNS for this gmail.com. Let me search my database, and it finds the IP address 132.4.13.12, and it hands over the IP address to the preferred DNS. And this preferred DNS will hand over the same IP address to our computer, and then this computer will be able to directly talk with our web server. So this is the entire DNS name resolution process. Now let us understand the DNS queries in this entire, say, transaction. So there are two queries over here. The first one is in the blue color, that is iterative query. So the first query, which is done by the DNS client to the DNS server, is the iterative query. And then we have many recursive queries as well. Whatever you see in the red color, they are all recursive in nature. So the query, the first queried DNS server, that is 8.8.8.8, is going back and forth, querying other DNS servers for name resolution. Such queries are called as recursive queries. So let us look at these queries in detail now. So in an say iterative DNS query, the DNS client asks the DNS server a question to be the best of its abilities. If the DNS server is an authoritative server or contains information about the request, say if it's cached, it will provide the answer to the client. And if it's not cached, if it's not able to resolve it, the DNS server is, say, unable to determine the response, it will then send back the referrals to other DNS servers which might be able to provide the answer. So this exactly happened in our example. So let's understand recursive query now. So a recursive query tells the querying DNS server that it should provide an answer for the second questions. If the server itself serves the authoritative, say, server for this domain, it should respond normally. So however, if the server is not an authoritative server for this domain, it should start a recursive query process to resolve the domain name and then return the, say, resulting records. So we also saw how the recursion works. So let's summarize what we have seen today. So today we have seen two important, say, points in DNS, that is iterative query and recursive query. So if you have any questions on DNS, please leave a comment. We will try to create a detailed video on it. So hope you have enjoyed today's session. Thank you for joining, and if you feel this channel is helping you to learn anything new, do like, share and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.